एकदा फोन सरळ येतो की उलटा येतो.
आगे नहीं बैठे लाइव है
थोड़ी मस्ती कम कर.
शुरू हो गया क्या
Guys, please be quiet. Guests are here.
सेकंड रो में बिठा यश सारे वीडियो
Namaskar and a very warm welcome to one and all present here. It is indeed a moment of pride and devotion as we gather here at Dr. D.Y. Patil, Gyan Prasad University, Pune, an institution of learning established under the visionary leadership of our respected Dr. Somnath Patil sir. His commitment and foresight have laid the foundation for a place where knowledge, innovation and growth come together to create a vibrant academic environment. Today we are celebrating the sacred festival of Navratri, which honors the 9 forms of goddess Durga, each symbolizing strength, wisdom and power. This celebration is hosted by SMR College under the able guidance of respected Dean and Director Dr. Vishal Vadaskar sir, who has always encouraged students and faculty to bring tradition with progress. On this holy day, we worship Maa Kaalratri, the 7th form of goddess Durga. She represents the destructive power over darkness, evil and fear, and is also known as Shubhankari for her auspicious power. या देवी सर्वभूतेषु कालरात्रि रूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः. Salutations again and again to the Divine Mother who dwells in all beings in the fierce form of Kaalratri, the remover of darkness, fear and evil. Now I invite our esteemed dignitaries, along with them Kuhu, VP of CSR and Priyanshi Treasurer on stage for lighting of the lamp. To honor this divine occasion, we now request our respected Dr. Shikha Dubey ma'am to kindly felicitate our esteemed guest, Miss Medha ma'am. It is my privilege to introduce our distinguished guest today. Miss Medha Bhaskaran ma'am is an author, microbiologist and a columnist whose work has left a remarkable impact across literature and research. She is best known for her national bestseller, Challenging Destiny, the biography of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, which was nominated at the Raymond Crossword Book Awards and translated into multiple languages including Marathi, Hindi and Kannada. Her powerful historical fiction, Frontiers, a relentless battle between Aurangzeb and Shivaji, and Life and Death of Shambhaji have also been widely acclaimed, with the latter enjoying bestseller status on Amazon. Many of her works are now available in regional translations and as audiobooks, ensuring their reach to a diverse readership. Beyond history, ma'am explored the fascinating world of medicine and social issues through books like Prescription of Life, The Story of Immunity, and her award-winning work, Work Up Against Darkness, which received the FICCI Special Jury Award in 2024. Her versatility as a microbiologist with professional experience across Germany, India, and UAE enriches her writing with depth and authenticity. She has also contributed thought-provoking articles to leading publications such as the Indian Express, Khaleej Times, and Gulf News, while nurturing her love for poetry in both Marathi and English. Today, we do not just welcome a guest, we will welcome an inspiration, a role model, and a live example that nothing is impossible if one believes in oneself. Please join me in giving a thunderous round of applause to welcome Miss Medha Bhaskaran ma'am. Now, we can continue the session.
So I thank you all for being here today, and thank you very much, Professor Raute, to have given me this opportunity to be here today. And I always like to interact with young students, and that keeps me in touch with how my next book should be written. And today, I have learned all this history through two books. One is Sir Yadunath Sarkar's 5 volumes on Aurangzeb, and Sir Gajanan Mehendare's book Life and Times of Shivaji, and so many other books, but these 2 books are the main books. And unfortunately, we lost Mehendare. Of course, Sir Yadunath Sarkar has gone for many years now, but last week we lost Sir Mehendare in Pune. So I would like to just maintain or observe a minute of silence. Is it okay with you?
Sure.
Yeah. Somebody said yesterday to me that I should explain how I have come to write about Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, whom I call Shivray. But I think that can come later because time is very little and Shivray's subject is very huge. And his life is far more enchanting, and he is the man of the 1,000 years. There was nobody like him. And his life is more, and what he did and how he managed his country, created his nation and then managed it is far more interesting than my life, which is not much of significance in front of this great man. So I would like to explain to you, I'm not going to use any marketing jargons, but I'll explain to you last 25 years. I'm a microbiologist. I worked in the pharmaceutical industry in marketing and business management. We did not have MBA. MBAs were not that popular those days. But management I learned through my work. But this interest, this subject of Shivray caught my attention about 25 years ago. Perhaps you may not have been born that time. But I realized that there were about 100,000 books on Napoleon Bonaparte in English, and about 20,000 books on Jews Holocaust, and about 60,000 books on American Civil War. And there was not a single English book on Shivray which could be read by everybody. So I am very proud and honored to say that I was the first one which I wrote, Challenging Destiny, and now it is a national bestseller for last 7-8 years, Crossword bookstores. So what I would like to tell you today is how he created the nation, yes, he did. But how he changed his, have you ever heard of military management? Have you heard of civil management? So, before Shivray was born, you know how they how they managed their military from Mauryan Empire till about the Vijayanagara Empire of the South, from the Mughal Empire till the Sultanates of the Deccan. How did they manage their military? Did they have a military system like we have today? No. No, they did not have. What they did, they granted the land. They granted the large pieces of land to people who were warriors or from an important family or who were already holding the land. And what was the most important industry then? The agriculture industry, right? So what the king or the emperor or the sultan or the Raja, what they said to the people whom they granted the land, that you collect the agricultural tax from this land. The land was not small. It contained about 1,000 villages, 2,000 villages, 3,000 villages. You collect the agriculture tax from this land and maintain cavalry for us. Cavalry? What is cavalry? Cavalry contingents. Anybody knows this word, cavalry? Horsemen. Cavalry is horsemen. Infantry is footmen. Artillery is tofkhana. Okay. So, in your language, marketing language today, they outsource their army. They depended on the feudal lords. Which feudal lords they called in England, and they called Jagirdars in the Deccan, the Punes, and then they called Mansabdars in the Mughal Empire. So, what must have Shivray thought? He was, see, what management book was written for 2000 years from the Mauryan Empire? What was the management book? You give the land. See, what I want to tell you here, I had already discussed with Mr. Aute yesterday, that management book will give you knowledge. But later on, you cannot stick to it. You will have to have your own imagination later on, right? Who said imagination is better than intellect? Imagination is better than knowledge? Who said that? You know who said that? Yeah? Einstein. You know Einstein who he is? Yeah? He said imagination. So we'll see how Shivray used his imagination. Then Akbar came along. See, what was Jagirdars here in the Deccan? They were given land, they enjoyed, it became hereditary. Jagirdar's son became Jagirdar. He started collecting taxes. They became rich. Sometimes they kept the taxes to themselves. Sounds familiar in today's politics? They kept the taxes to themselves. They built their mahals and palaces, and they kept their own sentinels. I'm not talking about Hindu and Muslim both. Okay, so they terrorized the people around, and they built fortresses. And Jagirdars could even go against their king. Kings and emperors and the rajas were the titular heads. They were not the real, because if the military power is with somebody else, what do you have? Just the name, nothing. Okay. And whom did they collect the taxes from? Have you heard of a word called Vatandars, or the hereditary tax collectors? Have you heard that name any time? No. So these Vatandars collected Vatandars were given, the Deshmukhs were given a collection of villages, and Patils were given one village. They had to help the farmers and collect the taxes, keep something for them, and give the rest to the Rajas to maintain cavalry for the king. So this was the management book written. And do you know what is our new military system? Okay. Before that, Akbar changed it. Akbar made them mansabdars. Here again, the land was given to them. They collect the taxes from the local agriculturists and they maintain the cavalry. And they got the money to maintain 5,000 horses, but they kept only 3,000. And rest of the money they spent in marriages and parties. Sounds familiar? The roads are not repaired. Huh? And the civic system is falling. We do not know where our tax money is going. Sounds familiar? It happened then also. You know, we were not an exception then. It was like that only, then and now. So, mansabdars could be transferred. In the Deccan, the Jagirdars could not be transferred, and it has some kind of relevance why Shivray took some decisions then, later on. So, mansabdars, now you understand the military system. You give the grant the land, ask them to collect the taxes, and ask them to maintain the military for the king who has no military under him directly. So, do you have any army people in your family? Uncle or dad or anybody?
Yes.
So can you ask them, can you work under such system, military system, when there is no hierarchy or there is no chain of command? It is not possible. So what is today's military system? Huh? Okay, we will talk only about the army. What is today's military system? Who is at the head? Army head? General. Yeah, general. Then who comes? Lieutenant general. Then the major general. Then the brigadier. Then colonel, lieutenant colonel, captain. Right? Am I right or wrong? What is our military budget? Can you tell me? Anybody from here? How many $1 billion in 2025? How many $1 billion is our military budget? No? Any number? $86 billion is our military budget. We have 30 lakh people, 15 lakh in the back office, 15 lakh on the front, and some reserves. We need that money to maintain them, provide them with arms, do some innovation, also give pensions who retired, give pensions to the war widows. Yeah, the money is distributed like that. And you know 1 billion, how much is 1 billion? How many billions? How many millions is 1 billion? 100 or 1,000? 1,000 million is 1 billion. So much money is going into the military system. Okay. So, we have, you know, when a captain or a major, he has company, also known as platoon, of few 30, 40, 100, 200 soldiers. Okay, am I right or wrong?
Right.
Company. Then you go a little bit higher, go to colonels. Then what do they have? They have squadrons. All those squadrons report to whom? The lieutenant colonel reports to colonel. And then they have what? They have regiments. Okay, little more people because so many squadrons together become a regiment. And all these regiments report to brigadier, right? This is the military management. And the brigadier maintains brigades, which is a mix of many regiments. Okay, mix of many regiments. It's not so regimental. It's not so rigid. It's flexible. Brigadier can take decisions. And without this system, army does not function. And do you know who invented this system in India? Who invented this system in India? Yes, for the first time, Shivray invented. He started a hierarchy system where each soldier will be taken from his um, treasury. It is not outsourced. He owned the army. This is the first person in India who innovated a system which had, like the general, he had the surnover, like the lieutenant general and the major general, he had Pancha Hazaris. Then he had Hazaris. Then like the colonels, he had Jumledars. Then like the captains, he had Havaldars. And all this, everything was in place. Okay, everything was in place. There were companies, there were squadrons, there were regiments, and there were brigades. How did he discover it? Which management book he must have read? Or which management school he must have gone? Can anybody tell me? Huh? No one knows. No one knows which management school he must have gone. And sorry, when I talk about the brigade, I'm not talking about the Sambhaji brigade and all those are existing here. I'm talking about the real village. Anyway, so this is, and tell me, if this is something like asking Einstein, how did you discover E is equal to mc squared? Well, I don't really know how Shivray discovered this. He kept this system in place. Spy network was attached to it, water carriers were attached to it, there was a chain of command, and this was his invention, military invention. Okay, so can you tell me any other person in India, maybe I don't know, you know, any other, till now I do not know, who has invented a system like this without copying anybody else? I just want to know, I want to learn from you because I don't know about it. You know anybody for last 400 years? Anybody invented? We have so many business schools. We have so many engineering colleges. Of course, our bridges are falling and all that is different. But can anybody tell me another person's name? If you do AI search, you have many people are looking into the mobile. You can do AI search and find out how feudal system changed to the modern army. If you do the AI search, they will tell you it took centuries. They also don't know what happened in India that time. How Shivray invented this modern military system. But before that, I will tell you two of these principles before we even go into management. Have you heard of sword, a weapon? Yeah. So what are two main parts of the sword? What are they? Two major parts of the sword. The blade and the hilt. Blade and the hilt. So blade must have sharpness, right? And hilt, what hilt should have? A grip. Exactly. The blade must have sharpness and the hilt must have grip. So that was the weapon those days. But what was Shivray's most important weapon? And what is your most important weapon? Can you go with the sword to the corporates? Even if you do a Facebook post on with a talwar or a sword, you will have criminal case on you. That's what I've heard now. You cannot show any weapon on the Facebook post. So what's your weapon? Not heart. Your mind, right? Mind. So let's see. The blade is your intellect, and the sharpness is your intuition. Okay. And the grip, the hilt is your knowledge. Okay. And the grip is your imagination, suppose. So in one of my books, this I want you to hear, all all this has no meaning. I tell you, Shivray tells in one of my books, he tells, Baji Prabhu Deshpande. Have you heard of Baji Prabhu Deshpande? Yes. Who killed, who actually fought and got killed near Pavan. Yeah, while they were running away from Gadhala to Vishalgarh. So what he tells in one of my books, Frontiers, Shivray tells, see, you have a knowledge, you have intelligent mind, but what he says, if you use your sword against the helpless and the unarmed, you understand what I said? If you use your sword to kill or harm or terrorize, if you use your sword against the harmless, it becomes an evil. Your sword becomes an evil, your mind becomes an evil. If you use this sword to help the unscrupulous, or the gundas, to terrorize people, it becomes a traitor. But if you use the same sword to protect the unarmed and the helpless, it becomes a worshipper. How you worship Durga now? But, and beyond that, if you use your sword to empower the helpless and the unarmed, it becomes the God. This is how you should remember where you are going to use your mind. It's not about you being very intelligent, you are having, gold medalist from here and gold medalist from there, it doesn't really matter. Personally, I tell you, when I started learning and studying about Shivray, I found my personality changing. My ego went off for a sixer. My interpersonal relationship with my family improved, which matters a lot. Anyway, so coming back to Shivray, what does freedom mean to all of you? Can you, and anybody, one of you tell me what, this is again from my book, Life and Death of Sambhaji. When Putala Rani asks her husband, what does life mean to you? So he says, life means to me freedom. But his definition of freedom, I'll tell you later. If one or two of you can tell me your definition of freedom. Anybody?
Freedom
Anybody?
of expression. Freedom is to express.
No. What was Shivray's idea of freedom? Can anybody hear? Any young student here? Okay. Imagination, freedom to imagine, and most important.
Independence.
No?
Ma'am, freedom community responsibility.
Okay. Okay, shall I? Yes.
Freedom to choose.
Freedom to choose. You are coming here. You are very coming here.
You have your own will.
Yes. Okay. Okay, shall I tell you Shivray's definition of freedom? Huh? Shivray's definition of freedom, after studying him for 25 years, this is what I came to my mind. That freedom to do what I want to do and freedom to refuse what I do not want to do. Freedom to refuse is most important. After working in Dubai for many years, this may help you if you at all go out. What I realized, all of us Indians have a kind of an inferiority complex. How much ever you can become a Sundar Pichai also, he is also not opening his mouth now when HB1 visas are getting diluted. Okay? No Indian is opening their mouth. Have they? I used to actually respect that other guy, not Pichai, other person. Sugar. No, the other one. Equally famous, but nobody has opened their mouth. So we have our inherited inferiority complex. Maybe we are brown, or maybe we have that But we don't, when we are asked to do some work, we don't want to say no. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll do it. But even if I don't know how to do it, even if I don't want to do it, even if I have no clue how to do it, what I'll say? So Gora is standing there. Yes, sir. Don't do that. So what is see, you can sell your mind, you can sell your intellect, you can sell your intuition to the company who are you working for. You can sell your knowledge, and you can even sell your imagination if you are getting the patent money, isn't it? But do not sell your freedom for it, because you will not have any power to say no. Give that power to say no to yourself. Am I right or wrong? Right. So now we'll come back to, these are the two principles of Shivray. One, how to use your mind, Talawar, and how not to lose your freedom. Freedom means to say no. I have the right to say no. So now I want to ask you, what is the military budget? So now, Shivray's another thing is, have you heard of the story of David and Goliath? Biblical. Maybe not. Goliath was a very cruel and very big personality who wanted to kill. And David was a small shepherd boy who finally killed Goliath. It's a big story. There are movies on that. There are books on that. So this is the between David and Goliath. What I want to tell you, I asked you what is our military budget. Okay. You know what is USA's military budget? Why were the Mughals Goliath? I want to know. I want you to understand. Now, it's like you are working for NVIDIA. You are a top executive there. You know NVIDIA company? Am I right? The pronunciation? Yeah. So NVIDIA, what is the worth of NVIDIA? Come on, you are MBA students. The biggest company in the world. Anybody, what's the worth of NVIDIA? Google it, Google it. I think it's about $4.5 trillion. I think so. So somebody owning NVIDIA, you compare that to Aurangzeb, what he inherited, the ultimate nepo kid. You know what is nepo kid? Aurangzeb was the ultimate nepo kid. So, and you are just a startup in a garage with 25,000 rupees. That was Shivray. Okay. So I want to ask you, what is the military budget of the US? Let's go back to military. Our military budget, I told you, $86 billion. You know what is the military budget of the US? It's almost $1 trillion. $1 trillion, about say $968 billion. What is China's military budget? $370 billion. Russia, $250 billion. India, $86 billion. And what was the military budget of the Mughals? Can anybody tell you? Can anybody tell me? It was about $240 billion. Now, how did I come to this? Can anybody imagine this figure? How did I come? Am I lying here standing in front of you? Or it's just a figment of my imagination which has gone wrong? Or I want to impress you with the words and the figures? Nothing like that. You know what was 1 rupee that time? 1 rupee? ऐसा नहीं था यूपीआई पे करो इधर जाओ ऐसा मोबाइल से पे करो. It was not a note or anything. 1 rupee contained 10 grams of silver. 1 rupee contained 1 gram of silver. Okay, I'm just telling you how the Mughals were the Goliath. And Shivray was really a startup without any money. They may call him Shriman Yogi, but he was not Shriman. So, so that time, you know how much the Manasabdars collected the agriculture tax from the 22 provinces of the Mughal Empire? About say 2 million rupees. I mean, sorry, 220 million rupees, like about 22 crores. In their hand, hasil, collection on the paper, but what they got in their hand was 12 to 15 crores of rupees. Can you quickly calculate when you are on your mobile? 15 crores or 15 crores or 150 million multiplied by 10 grams. Some figure, I don't even know what figure comes. Okay. That time, that money could buy about 100,000 kilos of gold. 100,000 kilos of gold that time. What is the cost of 100,000 kilos of gold today? About 5 billion? $5 billion. That much they collected. That much gold they collected. Now you do your AI check. What is 1 billion worth today? Do AI check. 1 billion worth $1 billion could buy you 63 times more today than those days. So 5 billion multiplied by 63. That much money was worth the Mughal collected those days. And you know how much Aurangzeb inherited? What he inherited? He inherited 8,000 Mansabdars and 200,000 heavy-duty cavalrymen. Okay. And 40,000 artillerymen and 200,000 infantrymen. And what did Shivray inherit? What army did Shivray inherit? Can anybody tell me? What army he inherited? Nobody knows? Zero. In Malayalam is my other language, Marathi is my first language. That they call it Ane Mutti. Means Hathi ka anda. Can Hathi give anda? He inherited Hathi ka anda. Ane Mutti. Okay. So he had to develop this from the beginning. Any management book will tell you how to create an army from 0 people. There is no management. So this is how Shivray is different. Now I want to tell you, this is how he was a Goliath and how he had to fight against them. Then expansion strategies. Where was his Jagir? Shivray's Jagir was Pune, right? And 1,000 villages around Pune. So what was his expansion strategies? Will he go to north? If you had a dream of Swaraj, if you wanted to create your nation, and you had Pune, you had inherited as a Jagir from your father. I wouldn't call him Nepo kid because he did not follow his father. To the Darbar of Bijapur and bow down there. He didn't do that. He had other dream. Okay. So if you had Pune and 1,000 villages around it, and you are trying to get the cultivation done here, getting all the farmers, create some revenue, maybe 200-300 rupees per village, and to protect those farms, you want to train your farmers in sword fighting, and then you realize that, oh, I have an army of about 5,000 horsemen, and I want to create a Swaraj. Where will you go? Will you go north? Expansion of your territory? Because you have to expand. Agriculture, more land means more agriculture. More agriculture means taxes. Will you go north? Can anybody tell me? There is a India, this is Pune, north, and east is Adil Shahi, north is Mughal Empire. He could not go to the north. He could not go to the east. He had to go to the west. Konkan. And Konkan, and these sultanates and the empires, they depended on their heavy duty cavalry. So he expanded. Do you know the story of Maurya? I don't want to go into that detail. He actually eliminated a Maratha Maurya family, Maratha family called the Mauryas. And then he went down south. There was no Gadkari then. We did not have these highways, you know. We had to enter Konkan through small jungle trails. And he entered those trails through the valley of Jauni. Now have you, that there, Marathas did not build many forts. Shivray built only 2 forts. One is Pratapgarh. Have you ever seen Pratapgarh? In the valley of Jauni, it is built by Shivray. Another fort he built was Sindhudurga. That was a sea fort. So, in one of my books, see, why are the forts built? Why? What was the fort? Why were the fort necessary those days? Huh? Because if you sit on the fort, 10 people on the fort can fight with 100 people on the plains. Right? Also, when an army, if the Sultanate and Empire's army comes in large number, they have to do besiegement to the fort. So 25% of the army goes in besieging the fort. So it was to divide the enemy's army. Okay. Also, forts were the centers of storage. What was plundered in the enemy territory. Okay. And they were also the forts for residence, for protection from the enemies. Enemies could not attack. And also political meetings. Okay. So, forts were important those days. So, what I want to say is that Shivray started acquiring the forts first. And then he established his army. And then, the dream came slowly and surely. It was not like one night he just got up and said, hey, I want to do Swaraj. It was not so. And it was based on what? Now, what I want to tell you is that your company, your job, your corporate position, the money you get, which country you live in, for whom you work, a lot of other things, which car you own, which area you live in, upmarket. Yes, everybody has dreams. But if you do not have a goodwill of your people, it will mean nothing. So Shivray had a goodwill of people were not fools. The first time in their life, they found somebody whom they can trust, whom they can call their Raja. They had never seen, people in villages had never seen the emperors and the sultans of the era. They were crushed under the Hindu Vatandars and they were crushed under the Jagirdars, Hindu and Muslim. So this was the first time. What I want to show here, a small note for you. So coming back to Pratapgarh, these forts are built near the city, forts are built near the confluence of the rivers, forts are built near the very fertile environment, land, because it is to protect the taxes. Forts are built on the islands in the sea to protect the entire country, the mainland, from the attacks of the pirates and the other sea warriors. But can you tell me, have you heard of the word ROI? What is ROI? Return on investment. Why did Shivray build that, sorry to say, bloody Pratapgarh in the valley of Jauni, where there were no fertile land, it was very bad valleys and monstrous mountains, and there was nothing to protect them. In fact, everything was there to be afraid of. So what was in one of my books, Moroji Singh asked Shivray, why did you build this Pratapgarh in this valley of Jauni? What is your return on investment? Shivray gone crazy that time? What was it? Why was this? See, you have to think out of the box. You have to see when you come to invest money of your company, if you are in finance, sometimes you have to think out of the box. So why was this? What was the return of investment of Pratapgarh Fort building in the valley of Jauri? Can anybody answer me? Can you answer me? No? What was the return of investment in building the fort in Jauri Valley? So what she... Huh? No, there was no people. It's just jungle. Jungle out there, full of snakes, reptiles, panthers, cheetahs, and tigers. That's what it is. See, what was his? He had already seen through that what is a heavy duty cavalry with heavy horse? A man sitting on that had a complete armor, and he had a sword and a javelin. He was a heavy man, and such heavy duty cavalry in the jungle becomes a big ship stuck in the sand. So he knew that in future Afzal Khan would come one day, and one day he will have to bring him into such a place that his entire army will be absolutely useless. And the return of investment was huge because Afzal Khan was killed, and Shivray later on went to Adil Shahi kingdom and acquired their Panalgarh, Vishalgarh along with India. So that was the return of investment. That is what I wanted to say. So Aurangzeb was a prince then. When all this was happening, Aurangzeb was a prince in the middle, in the Deccan. He lived at Aurangabad, was known as Khatri, and he changed his name to Aurangabad, and now it is Sambhajinagar. So what was Aurangzeb's? Do you know what was Aurangzeb's thought? Have you heard of Dar-ul-Harb and Dar-ul-Islam? Have you heard of that? See, there are only two words. I'm talking about Aurangzeb was the representative of Muhammad Ghazni, Muhammad Ghori, the Balbans, the Tughlaqs, and the Taimurs, and the Khiljis, and the Bahmani kingdom. He was the representative of that. Okay, I am not against Hindus or Muslims, I am not against, I am just telling you, stating the history. Okay, so his source was, if the entire world has to be converted into the Islamic Caliphate or the empire, Islamic empire. And wherever Islam does not rule, that dharati or that zameen or that land should be considered as the Dar-ul-Harb, the battlefield. You have to kill those people. There are no other two ways. Either Dar-al-Islam or the land not ruled by Islam is Dar-ul-Harb, that is a battlefield. So it was his soch. So when Aurangzeb wanted to win the war of succession, there also I mean, it was the Mughal tradition to kill the brothers, half-brothers, cousins, whoever had the blood, the family blood, to claim the throne. It was even worse than Game of Thrones. Yeah? So, whoever was to get to the throne. Do you know Jahangir? आपने तो देखा है क्या मूवी वो मुगले आजम प्यार किया तो डरना क्या? That guy, that Jahangir, killed, I think, his brother, removed his eyes and put salt water in it. And later on he married so many women. Okay. So that was a tradition. It was, Aurangzeb was no exception. Aurangzeb was no exception. You must have seen Jodha Akbar. कितना अच्छा है ना जोधा अकबर, how beautiful, handsome Hrithik Roshan is, right? And how beautiful, of course they are very good looking couple. But they showed the couple like Eka Vachani, Eka Patni, like Rama. When Akbar had a harem of 5,000 beautiful women, he had acquired through scouts, going from home to inquire whether there are beautiful young girls there. Imagine somebody coming to your house, a scout, do you have a girl in your house? Imagine how scared it must have been for those families in Delhi. And this is all documented. So anyway, we make these movies, no problem. We make these movies, we enjoy them, we sing along with them. But it was not like that. So this so what was Aurangzeb so like so many others, no Sanatanis. Sanatani, because there was Hindu word also has come from the invaders. Hinduism is not even a religion, it's our way of life. It was our way of, not even say our, because I have become an atheist now, slowly. I don't believe in any religion and caste, because all the problems are coming through that. So whoever lived in Indian subcontinent, the Sanatanis, I'm not talking about Sanatanis, this fanatics, no, that word does not exist. They had their own way of life. They should be so scared, they should be poor, they should be crushed under jizya tax. Yeah? So how sounds familiar? Still we want to live, no? Still we want, now Trump doesn't want us, he wants to kick us out, he doesn't want to renew H1B visas, he wants to put $100,000 fine in the companies, still we want to go there. Right? Like that, still we wanted to live, because this was our country, unlike US, where we want to go. This is our country, we want to live, we don't want to get converted. So jizya tax was imposed. And what you see, this showed in Jodha Akbar, the jizya tax is removed, right? But there are other taxes. Have they shown that there was a tax called Kharaj, which was imposed on Hindu agriculturists. 50% of their money will go to the government. If you do not pay that, your children and why did Shivray think of all this for us? Your children and wife, your women and children in your family will be abducted. Your children, your women will be sold in sex slaves, and the little boys. Hear about this. The little boys were under a crude operation made eunuchs. Out of that 10 boys, if you make them eunuchs with a crude operation, emasculate them, 7 to 8 will die of tetanus. And those remaining ones will be sold in the slave trade to protect the harems of these Islamic radical invaders and their mansabdars and their workers. This could not have been continued. This cannot continue. So that is how this entire change has taken place, and that is how Shivray thought of Swaraj. So I want to, actually, I could not find any businessman to compare with Shivray in the management side, but I thought Steve Jobs may, I can compare him a little bit. So, before you were born, I'm talking about many years ago, when I used to follow Steve Jobs, he failed, first time. His Apple did not sell at all. Okay, so Steve Jobs, that time in Time magazine there was an article when Apple goes bananas. It went bananas when it's gone. So it was that time he failed. Shivray, people had gone wilted. Their mind, slave mentality has set in. We are good for nothing. Because most of the educated Sanatanis, those who went to the universities, those who could think, those who were enterprising, 100 million Sanatanis were massacred in 5 centuries. That is why Swaraj is so important. Okay, that is why this management is so important. So what was Steve Jobs' why did he succeed with his product later on when he came again? It is simplicity and beauty. Am I right? His product simplicity and beauty. I will ask the IIT man. And why did Shivray Swaraj succeed with his simplicity and love? See, you have to, when you work with people, don't threaten them. I have seen managers interviewing, I myself was a victim. The managers, when you interview for the job, I don't know how many will you agree, they do not want anybody smarter than them in the company. So they will see to it, they will select such people that those people will not replace their chair. So the entire company becomes a company of dwarfs. So this was not the case. It's not the bondage. And then the less intelligent or the less intuitive or the less knowledgeable and people who have less imagination, they can treat as slaves. Okay. So that becomes a bondage. So don't go for the bondage, go for the bond. That was Shivray's great management. So Steve Jobs' main thing is human intuition when he developed his product. And Shivray's principle was shift in people's intuition, that we are not slaves. We can fight back. What is the iconic product of Steve Jobs? iPhone. What is the iconic product of Shivray? Swaraj. Yeah. Then, what was Steve Jobs' main thing different? User first. Think different? User first. What was Shivray's principle? Think different? People first. It is the people's Swaraj. It is not Aurangzeb's Mughal Empire. It was the people's Swaraj. Then both of them died unexpectedly, but the empire continued. Both of them died young, but the empire continued. So, actually it's more, but I think I should stop here and take some question answers. Yeah. So this is how, what all you can learn from Shivray and how actually some of my books are selling there outside, Challenging Destiny, which is a national bestseller, where all this is given. What I would say, that whenever you take any decision, you can put on Shivray's shoes for a minute and you can think what he must have done, or what I can do. With this I stopped and I hope I was not too out of the line, and any question answers are there. So either, when there are no questions, either I have confused you or I have convinced you. Yeah.
So while discovering about Shivray, what was the most fascinating or surprising fact that you discovered?
Shall I tell you that? That's good you asked me, very good question. See, we know about, I forgot to discuss that. She is asking what is the most fascinating. Shivray entered Lal Mahal and cut Shaisteh Khan's fingers, right? So, when I have written in the book in table form, when I was reading about it, and you can sit down, and when I was reading about Operation Neptune Star, you know what is Operation Neptune Star? When Osama bin Laden was killed. Yeah? And there are so many similarities, which I will give you few similarities, which actually I became very fascinated by that. The compound in Abbottabad was surrounded by Pakistani military, right? And the compound in Pune, Lal Mahal's compound, was surrounded by Mughal military. 100,000 people were there. Then the Sikhs shifted their base in Afghanistan to actually come into Pakistan. And Shivray shifted his base from Rajgarh to Sinhgarh or Kondana to come into Pune. In Operation Neptune Star, the Black Hawk helicopters had rotors to escape the radars. Okay, and Shivray's time, lightweight cavalry was extremely silent. It was just, they're not heavy duty cavalry, they're lightweight, and mostly they use mares, not horses. Okay. Then there in Abbottabad attack, the first time when they entered the house, 20-year-old son of Osama bin Laden called Khalid was gunned down. And when they entered Lal Mahal, 20-year-old son of Shaiste Khan called Abul Fahd was killed when he was coming down the stairs. Then both of them, Osama bin Laden and Shaiste Khan, hid behind their wives. Okay, unfortunately Shaiste Khan was not killed, but he lost all his izzat and he had to leave. So this I found very fascinating. This table is given in my book, and lot of IIT students read that and they say, "Ma'am, this is so inspiring. We keep that book under the pillow and sleep." The youngsters. Okay, any other question?
Any other questions?
I think I have convinced you. Yeah.
Good morning, ma'am. My name is Himanshu Verma. I wanted to ask what inspired you about Chhatrapati Shivaji to write the book?
Yeah, so actually I love to write from the childhood. My childhood friend is also here. She will confirm it that I used to write in Marathi poems. So when I went to Dubai, after working here in India for many years, I went in pharmaceutical. I didn't get the job. A, I was a woman. B, I was brown. C, I did not have any university. And D, I did not know Arabic. And there was a mafia of Egyptian and South African mafia in the pharmaceutical industry. They will take their own people. So I thought of deciding to write in Khalij time. So I waited for 1 year. They said, you change your name to English name, then only people will read. I said, no, I'll keep my own name. So I waited for 1 year. Then I started getting articles. I started writing weekly columns in Khalij Times. With that little money, I could get my driving license. Because getting driving license in Dubai those days was getting a doctorate in calculus. So difficult. So anyway, this writing and that magazine for which I wrote was the official magazine for the Emirates Airlines. So I started getting letters. There was no internet then. I had to get handwritten letters in Khalij Times office about how they like it. Especially when I wrote about polycystic ovaries, I got about 50 letters. That ma'am, we are suffering so much and we didn't know what this disease is. And then I got my job also. So I loved writing. Then in Dubai, many of the NRIs, not in Dubai, it must be in other countries, NRIs meet each other. They keep very, Maharashtrians will meet Maharashtrians, and am I right? It's a small little silo they make. Then the Reddis will meet, the Telugus will meet Telugu Samajam, Kerala Samajam, right? So there they will talk bad about India. Kitna dirty hai, roads kitna ganda hai, so much dust and dirt and kitna noise. Everybody talks loud on the phone. Hai to sab hai. But then I also joined in bashing India bashing. Then I realized that I can't do anything for India. What right do I have to bash India? Okay, so what do? No money, do philanthropy. No time, with kids growing. So I knew the power of my pen I discovered. So I said, why not write a biography of somebody who will inspire youngsters? So then who else? There are 100,000 books on Napoleon Bonaparte in English. 20,000 on American Civil War. 60,000 60,000 on Jew Holocaust, or like that, 60,000 on American Civil War, and not a single one which when anybody can read a 300-400 page book or Shivray's biography. So I said I will write. So I had to study a lot for that. That's what the journey. It's not like one day I got up and I say, hey, I want to write. But like there was a Marathi analyst, he died. You may not even know about him. He said, if you want to know about Shivray, you must know about Aurangzeb. In your own language, if you want to know about Mugambo, you should know, if you want to know about Mr. India, you should know about Mugambo. Like, so I studied Mughal Empire also, Sir Yadinath Sarkar. And then within 5-6 years, I started to pen and I was rejected by 100 publishers and agents. But I persisted. And then my 3 books are there now. One is Challenging Destiny, Biography of Chhatrapati Shivaji, then Conquerors and Light and Death of Shivaji. And my book on Tara Rani, Queen Tara, there is no English book on that. Kali of the Deccan will be released in March, spring time. This is my journey. Anything else?
Why most of the people they are fond of the Superman, Batman? Why they are not fond of how Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, even Maharana Pratap, Sanga? Why they are so much fond of?
Yeah, because we are very busy in making films about Mughal-e-Azam, which has no history. Jodha Akbar, Anarkali who never existed. And Dilip Kumar acted as Jahangir, who had killed. You know, we have made movie on Shah Jahan and Taj Mahal also. Shah Jahan has killed 36 of his kin. Half brothers. Even one guy called Khusru, who was Jahangir's first son, whose eyes were washed out by his own father Jahangir, and that poor Khusru also was killed by Shah Jahan. So we are busy making movies on them. And now we are waking up slowly. So of course we will, and Superman and other figures were presented to us in such a good package. You know, such a good package. The movies of Superman are superb. You see, for a kid. So such a packaging of movies we have not done. And somehow we were not allowed to, or we did not do on purpose, or there was some fear, or money was coming from somewhere, I do not know. But this now slowly, even my book, I never thought so many people knew me.
In 2005, nobody is talking about the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and the Sambhaji Maharaj.
Yeah, so when I went, I'll tell you what. This is shocking actually, when I went to an editor of the top Marathi newspaper, which had 1 million circulation. I don't want to name it, but when I went to him for some inputs on Shivray, he said, don't you have anything better to do? So that is how our own people look down on our own history. And we learned our history from third people's narration of their viewpoints, their perspective, their lies, half lies, brazen truths, brazen lies and half truths. So now we have to improve. All of you are young now. You can do so many things for it. You have to fight for it and package our heroes. See, I could package my hero in Challenging Destiny, which was published by Crossword Bookstores, and they made it available in all 110 stores on the front shelf. So, yeah. Any other questions? Yeah? Any other questions? So we'll call it a day now.
Okay, any questions, guys?
So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your words of wisdom and inspiration. Ma'am shared her valuable insights with us, reminding that imagination is better than intellect, that our mind is the greatest weapon if used wisely, and we should never sell our freedom for anything. These thought-provoking words will truly stay as guiding principles with us. As we come to the close of today's Navratri celebration, I would like to take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our guest of honor, Ms. Medha Bhaskaran ma'am, for gracing this occasion and sharing her inspiring journey with us. Special thanks to respected Dr. Somnath Patil sir, whose vision has shaped Dr. D.Y. Patil Gyan Prasad University into a hub of knowledge and culture. Sincere thanks to our respected Dean and Director Sir, Dr. Vishal Vadaskar sir, for his constant guidance and support. Our heartfelt gratitude to the HODs and faculty members. Last but not the least, to all our student council members and colleagues who made this program possible. Let us carry forward the blessings of Maa Kaalratri in our hearts, walking the path of patience, strength and devotion. Thank you and Jai Mataji.